Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by the brilliant Dan Potts, the wonderful LB. How are you, gentlemen? You both good? You both well?
Yeah.
Very well, man. Very well.
Good.
Really well.
Lots to talk about today. Lots to go through. Football and all sorts. And, you know, Man City bribing referees to not give penalties and all sorts of things that happened this weekend, according to Liverpool fans, that is. I'm not making that claim myself. Viewers, make sure that you have hit the like button, though, and make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace if you haven't done so already. And check out my new channel, The Squad. Go and get subscribed now. New content coming very, very soon indeed. We are going to talk Arsenal. We are going to talk Liverpool. We are going to talk Man City on the show today and get the boys' opinions on a few things. But I want to ask you both a question first. It might come across as a little bit left field. But there's a link today of PSG coming in for Marcus Rashford in the summer. Question, I want to go Dan Potts on this first. Should Man United cash in on Marcus Rashford and sell him?
1,000 trillion%, mate. 1,000%. This is a guy with mentality that wouldn't even be fit for the Conference League, in my opinion. And I've said it before, he's a talented boy. People actually think Rashford is a shocking player. It's not the case. I don't think he's a shocking player. I think he's overrated, but I think he's an okay player. But he's not what Man United need to move forward. I honestly believe that. When you look at it with, 3-7-5 a week this guy's on, just get what you can from him at PSG. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come out and said, I said to the players, I don't know if you saw it on the overlap, and he said, I said to the players, who doesn't want a beer and who does? And Rashford and Martial said, not me, and they stayed in. Everyone else came out. Goodbye. See you later. Take care. You don't want to play for the club. See you later. I don't know what he's still doing there. If that is true, what the hell is he still doing on the pitch? It's crazy. For me, I would have let him rot in the reserves after that moment and said, go find another club. You're a nice lad. I know you do a lot away from the game, but you're not welcome here at the club. This is Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. You don't get away with attitude like that. See you later. But there's Man United fans that cling on to this guy. They see he's the Mbappe of Man United, I've heard over the years, and this guy just needs a good coach and he'll be fine. I've seen enough, man. The guy's 26, not 17. I've seen enough, man. He's for me one of the many things that are wrong with Man United in this playing squad. And I wouldn't just be him that I'd be getting rid of. There's a lot more that needs to be gone. But if you could cash in on this guy, do it, man. 100%.
Oh, your mic stopped working.
You got a mute there, LB.
That's because I'm muted. We've discussed United. We've not really spoke about Rashford specifically in the past. We might have touched on it slightly, but like we when we've had these conversations before, most of us agree that United need this proper reset to build the foundation properly, so then they can build like City have done, like Arsenal have done, like Liverpool have done. All of us have had a reset, and obviously City have in that first year under Pep Guardiola wasn't pretty, but from there we built the base, we kicked on. Liverpool, obviously, with Klopp, and Arsenal with Arteta. We've all had that base where we created it and then kicked on. What United have to do, United have to get rid of problem players and just players that are simply not good enough. And it can be difficult at times because United fans have maybe built up a connection to these players over multiple years. But ultimately, United fans, the United board, the manager, everyone associated with that football club has to have a long, hard look at the situation and make difficult calls. And when it comes to Rashford, and I get there might be a difference of opinion, but you have to look at him and say, just fundamentally, is this guy good enough for this football club at where we want to be? And two, does this guy have the mentality and desire to be playing at this football club? Because let's not pretend like next year it's all going to be rosy. Like this new guy's come in, I think he's going to be better than the Glazers for Manchester United, and I actually think that give it 2 years, I think United could be competing again. But it's not going to be rosy. Next year's just going to be tricky as well. You know what I mean? Because they're going to have to make these tricky decisions and buy players in and change the style. Does Rashford have the mentality to perform? So for me personally, from my point of view, obviously that's for all United fans to answer, by the way. From my point of view is I'd get rid of this guy tomorrow. Yeah, I don't think he has the mentality. This guy doing the interview saying, oh, no one questioned my judgment and that. I've seen this guy, yeah, and I don't even watch United every week, right? Whenever I watch United, I've seen this guy lazy at times, not sprinting back, not putting in challenges, not jumping in the air to win a header. And then he sits there in interviews say, "Oh, don't question my mentality." For me personally, if I was a United fan, I'd try and cash in. And if PSG offer you anything upwards of 70 million, I'd snap their hand off and reinvest that money personally. Now, yes, it could be tricky because if he goes to PSG, he might slam it and he might get 30 goals. And then you're going to have to look at it and say, oh, we probably shouldn't have kept him. But you've got to just make that hard decision and move on. And I think for United,
is it a hard decision, LB? Like, let's real talk. Is that a hard decision? Because I understand Man United fans want one of their own to do well. But if you believe that Marcus Rashford is going to take you to that next level, your standards are on the floor. Because when I grew up, there was no Marcus Rashfords getting near the Man United side. It was Ryan Giggs. It was Andre Kanchelskis. It was Eric Cantona. It was David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo. All these guys were the ones I was looking at as the wingers.
No, I hear you.
Marcus Rashford is getting nowhere near that level.
No,
mate.
I hear you. But the one of the issues that you've also then got to address is there's a lot of other players that are worse than Marcus Rashford in that squad that also need to be, and he is taking the brunt of the situation. But it is hard. It is hard, Dan, because he's a local lad that's a Manchester United fan who has had a couple of decent seasons. So it is hard. It is, in my opinion, it is a hard decision. But my decision would be get rid.
Do you know what's interesting? It's you pulled a really good thing there, both of you, about if he leaves and does well at PSG and Man United aren't doing so well, you will get that, we should have kept him. But that isn't always how life works in the sense of Man United got rid of Diego Forlan. He went on to kill it as a striker in La Liga. But Man United fans weren't kicking off about it back then because we were still winning Premier League, we were still winning Champions League, we were still winning domestic trophies, we were still one of the best teams in the world. And I think that whatever our decision is, and I am so 50-50 on it. Some days I do, I think we're going to have to sacrifice a few players that you would look at as our better individuals. One, to free up the salary to bring in other players. And I think some are just tainted and tarnished and damaged by the problems that the club has had over the past decade. And you sometimes need to move on from them. But the fans have also got to learn to be strong if those players go elsewhere and do well, because say Bruno and Rashford are both sold this summer, as many Man United fans want, there is a likelihood they do well elsewhere, because I don't think they're bad football players. I just think they've fallen into the trap that is Manchester United. And if I'm going to have the energy that I don't think my manager can recover, it stands to reason that some of these players won't recover and ever get back to a level that we need them to be. And it may just be easier if the right players are available in the transfer market to move some of these individuals on. And I look at it and think if we get offered 70, 80, 90 million for Marcus Rashford, it's something we have to, at the very least, seriously consider doing. We have to. And I'm sure it's probably already part of the conversations and part of the agenda right now, because I mean, I actually think he is a talented player. I think there's a lot of talent in there. I think if he was coached properly with a consistent system from the age of 18 until now, I think he'd be a very different individual with the right standards at the football club. But just as I said about Paul Pogba towards the end of his career, I just felt it was the right time for him to go at Man United. I do think I feel very similar to how I did about Marcus Rashford. Now, if he does stay and he does do well, then I'm really happy. And if we do keep him, then I hope it's the right decision and we get a very good and a very consistent Marcus Rashford that delivers for us. I'm not going to sit here and throw my toys out the pram if he stays, but just in my heart of hearts, when I see that he's linked with a big money move away, part of me thinks both for us and him, it could be really beneficial. And you mentioned that the Solskjaer stuff. And it was interesting listening to Solskjaer because I saw some people tweet, oh my God, it was Rashford and McTominay that came off. They were the two that didn't want to play. And there could be a big element of truth to that. We also don't know whether he already decided to take them off and said, who wants to come on and play? And maybe people didn't put their hands up. He also stated that some of the other players in the dressing room were so upset because he said, guys, that's going to be me sacked now, that they weren't in the right frame of mind. So if Rashford was truly heartbroken that a manager that he had a lot of time and love for was going to be sacked, and that meant he weren't in the right mindset to play, I don't look at that as having poor mentality per se, because it's not like you're going for a league title and you're too emotional to play. So I think there's loads of levels to it in my humble opinion. But I still look at him in this last season and think, you don't look happy. You don't really look like you want to be here. And the club have got to look at him as a player and his profile and say, how are we going to play football? Because he is great on the transition. He is great with the ball over the top. But if we want to play a more intricate style of football, I don't think he's that guy either. And we have
Great
to.
point.
If you make Rashford try and play a style of football that he isn't accustomed to playing or isn't his best, that's when you're going to get the frustration in him. Because I don't know if in a year you're going to be able to push out the culture that has been ingrained in him over the past 6 to 7 years, 8 years, even 18. He came through 26 now. It's 8 years of that being pumped into him. So you have to look at it and say, does he fit what we want as a player? If not, can he handle being a bit part player? Can he handle being made to do something that he's not necessarily happy with and still maintain professionalism? And the club has to weigh that up. And if the answer's I'm not sure, and you get offered big money from PSG, you sell and you reinvest. And my view on it has always been this. We sold David Beckham and I was genuinely heartbroken. Beckham was my hero. I copied all his haircuts as a kid. He's from the same part of East London as me. I love that man. But we sold him. And a couple of weeks later, we signed Cristiano Ronaldo. And I didn't look back. I checked how well Madrid were doing because I love Beckham, but the same as I checked how well Ronaldo did when he left. And there's loads of Man United players that have left my club who I continually check how their careers have gone. But was I pining over David Beckham? No, because I support my club. I don't support Rashford. I don't support David Beckham. I didn't support Wayne Rooney. I support Manchester United. And as long as we start to improve next year, I am going to a degree, get behind the decisions that our new ownership are going to make. And it could very well be that Rashford's got to go. It really could be. This year from Marcy says the Cavani, Ibra and Lukaku signing hurt the development of Rashford and Martial. Their downfall is so similar. We risk doing the same to Højlund too.
I don't know, man. Sometimes you've got to look at the player and not the other people around you. You know, you sometimes got to look at it and understand what you're saying about, sometimes you're not the best coach to get out of it, stuff like that. And I agree with some of that. But the quality's still been there in glimpses. For me, it's not really his ability on the ball. It's everything else that comes with it. Because if you look at the mentality of some of the players and the technique of some of the players, I think I've used an example before with Mesut Ozil, how technically gifted he was, but his mentality was shocking. And then you compare that to somebody like James Milner, whose mentality is absolutely incredible. I'm not saying he's technically shocking, but he's nowhere near the level of somebody like the players we're just discussing now. But actually, when you look at where he's done with his career, it's unbelievable because he's had the best mentality to keep himself level-headed, to keep himself 100% focused on football, to get to the age of 37 and still be smashing it in fitness training sessions. That's the sort of elite mentality you need to get you to the very, very top. And some people do it with the attributes they've got that aren't of the level of Marcus Rashford. So if this kid did have elite mentality, who knows what he could do? But I just don't think it's there, Tel. I really don't.
I listen. I agree to it. I mean, Rashford plays on the wings. I do think that the poor managers and the way the club's been run has damaged the players. I don't think signing quality individuals, and not that Lukaku was quality for us, damages you. If you're good enough, you're going to keep developing and you're going to push through. It's as simple as that. There are some United fans that don't want us to sign good midfielders this summer because of Mainu. If Mainu's going to be good enough, he's going to get to that level. Man United had players like Paul Ince in our midfield when Scholesy came through, and Scholesy ousted him because he was better. You know, Koncheskis was pushed out by the likes of Giggs and Beckham because they were better. So there for me, this whole notion of like, you can't block a gateway of an individual. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, in my humble opinion. But that's just me. But viewers, let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel. Marcus Rashford, should Man United cash in on him this summer? Let us know. LB. Were Liverpool robbed on Sunday?
No. I wouldn't say robbed is the right term because they had multiple chances to score goals, which they should have took. Diaz, he probably robbed Liverpool. Yeah, he had multiple chances that he should have put in the back of the net. Put the crap. Let's just go straight to the penalty, which I know is what you want me to talk about.
Yes.
I think that this is my view on it. I think that it's not as clear and obvious as some people are making out. Because even Jamie Carragher said like it's a 50-50. But if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be very disappointed that wasn't given as a penalty. I would be disappointed that wasn't given as a penalty. You know what I mean? Because I thought it was a pen. When I seen it, I was like, that looks like a penalty to me. But when you actually look at it from like different angles and you listen to other people's opinions, you can see why it wasn't given. But like I say, I can't sit here and tell you that I didn't think it was a pen. I thought if that was City, yeah, I'd be fucking fuming, mate. You know what I mean? I would have been asking for a replay like Klopp did against Liverpool. But this is the thing, and I've said this in the past. We all know the referees are crap. And Dan Potts, you spoke about this as well on a match. I can't remember what match it was, but like we all know the referees are crap. You've got to take it out of their hands, man. You've got to take it out of their hands. Like, listen, Liverpool can blame the ref if they want. Blame Diaz, man. Blame Diaz. Diaz went through on goal. He missed chance after chance. Everyone talking to me about Diaz this, Diaz this. Oh, how good is he? His dribbling's amazing. Great. Doku was getting cut the other day for doing all this dribbling and having no end product. Why not having the same manager for Diaz? So, yes, I think to a large extent, I understand why Liverpool fans are annoyed because, like I say, for me, I'd be wanting a penalty in that situation as well. I do understand why it wasn't given, but Liverpool should just look at themselves, which is what I try and do when decisions go against us, and look at Diaz and say, "What are you doing, mate?" That one that Salah put through, that as soon as Salah come on and he put Diaz through and go. I mean, that is absolutely, he didn't even hit the target. That is absolutely shambolic for a player that's playing Premier League football, that's playing for the team that at the time was second in the division, to not hit the target from there. I just thought that was absolutely atrocious. So, yeah, there you go.
Listen, I think LB spitting facts. I really do. If you get to a stage where you're at a football game and 90 minutes whistle's gone, and you're going, if only the referee would have, you ain't played well enough. It's just facts. That's the way it is. You haven't played well enough if you're relying on the ref to give you 3 points. That is what it is. So, yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I didn't to start with, actually, which is why a lot of people are saying 50-50. I thought, actually, it was Lies on the ball. He went for it, and yet his foot's high. But actually, look at it again. You think, yeah, studs to the chest. You can't do that. It's a penalty. But forget that. Luis Diaz, another one. All the trickery, all the skill in the world. But the end product ain't there, man. And again, the other day, it weren't. And there's a lot, everyone, Liverpool fan we speak to regularly, yeah, I'll probably sell him. He's doing my head in. Like, that to me is like crazy. I've said this with a number of occasions. Doku's another one who I've said this to LB. Great on the eye. But then you look at the output and you think, Christ, this lad hasn't scored since November. What the hell is going on here? And like Luis Diaz, I know he scored a couple of goals more, I believe, than Doku this season. But again, the amount of chances he gets that he just misses, the output just ain't there. And I compare it tongue-in-cheek to players like St. Maximan and Adama Traore and Alex Iwobi. All look fantastic on the eye. They won't last because they've just been moved around club to club to club because they've got no output. They've got no end product. And I'm not saying that them two players are going to end up like Alex Iwobi, right? Before people jump on that. But I do look at it and I think, yeah, I don't know if I rate these two, man. They wouldn't get ahead of Saka and Martinelli in my combined 11. Let me tell you that now. Doku and Diaz. I like players that actually do go through and go and actually take their chances. Doku had a chance to win the game as well. He's quite unlucky with that, to be fair, because he hit the inside of the post. But again, Diaz, come on, man. Blame Diaz. Don't blame the bloody lack of penalty the referee didn't give you. Like, come on, man. You got a penalty. Like, move on. If you're going to try and win the game that way, you ain't played well enough, in my opinion. And Liverpool should have won that game. And Diaz is the reason they didn't, not the referee.
I do get that train. I do get that train of thought. But at the same time, if you're playing Porto tonight, you're about to be knocked out. One of their players studs Saka in the chest in the box. Surely you're going to be infuriated that you weren't given the opportunity to score that goal.
Of course, you're going to be infuriated, but are you going to blame that as the reason why you went out? Or are you going to look at the team performance and go, we weren't good enough on the night. We were trying to rely on a penalty last minute to go through in a Champions League time against the team that we should be beating. That's the way I would look at it. Now, they won't get fans like that. You'll get fans like the ones at Liverpool crying. You'll get Arsenal fans like that. Going, we should have had a penalty. It's the ref's fault. We're out. You're going to get that. That's just part of football, unfortunately. But really, take a look at your team and say, have you done enough? If you're relying on a referee to give you a penalty to get through a bloody game of football, that is a worry because you ain't going to get anything from these refs because they ain't good enough. Yeah, these officials are shocking. Accept that. That's the debate over. Move on. Don't rely on them when you're going, right, I bloody hope this ref sorts us out here. Otherwise, you've lost the game, mate. They ain't not, or you've not won the game. They are not going to do that because they are not good enough to get the right decision or wrong decision in your opinion. So honestly, I look at it and I think you will always moan at refs. You'll always say the ref's shocking. You'll always say that. But if you're saying that, because, like the Newcastle one, for example, at St James Park this season, we didn't play well enough. I was livid at the time because it was like, Christ, there's 3 opportunities there. 1, has it gone out? 2, is it a foul? 3, is it offside? Looks like they've got a couple of those decisions wrong. But let's be real. If they got it right or wrong, we were crap. We didn't win the game because we were crap. And that was to try and keep it a 0-0, by the way, even if that goal wouldn't have counted. So you don't look at that and go, right, VAR a disgrace, like Arteta come out and said it. This is the disgrace. The reason we didn't win. No, the reason we didn't win the game is because we weren't good enough, mate, on the night. And that's what I think Liverpool have to look at sometimes is go, were we clinical enough in front of goal? No. Well, that's why we didn't win the game. None of this referee hates us. No one wants to do it for Klopp. You'll hear all this crap come out. Actually, what it is you weren't good enough in front of goal. Let's just say how it is. I don't know why we can't
I think it would have been a lot worse, say, like Liverpool didn't have the chances. And then that was like the moment. But like, and don't get me wrong, like if you're a Liverpool fan, feel free to moan about it. Because if you think it's a pen, you think you were robbed or whatever. But like, because you had the chances, it's like, well, it is a pen. It probably is a pen. Most people agree with it, although there are still a lot of people that don't think it was a pen. So it's clearly not as obvious as some people are making out. But at the end of the day, you did have the chances to win it. So, yeah, there you go. Like, at the end of the day, we know the referees in this country are crap. Like Dan said, like, yeah, so you've got to put it into your own hands. We've all had decisions go against us. All 3 of us on this panel, yeah, we've all had decisions go for us. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, like you've got to put it in your own hands, 100%.
Charles here, says, so if the ref gives the pen and they score, then they did enough to win. But because he wrongfully didn't give it, they don't deserve to win the game.
Oh, they definitely deserve to win the game. There's no doubt about that, Charles. They definitely deserve to win the game. Dad, I don't know if you had any good. I mean, I was by the end of it. I was like,
Liverpool deserve to win the game. But
as soon as they equalised in the 46th minute, I was saying, "End the game now, mate. Get the draw, because we was crumbling. 100%.
Yeah,
they deserve to win.
You were crumbling.
I watched some of your watch along. I see it. Ah, no.
It was funny, man. It was funny.
Will here. Will says, so basically you're saying Liverpool missed too many chances, so didn't deserve a penalty.
No, didn't say that at all, Will. That's not what we said.
Oh,
what I'm saying is I'm a City fan saying it probably was a penalty, yeah? I think it was probably a penalty, but there are people out there that say it's not a penalty. So, yeah, you can. That's what I just said. If you want to have a moan about it, have a moan about it. You probably should have got a penalty. But at the same time, you can't just ignore the fact that Luis Diaz should have scored probably a hat-trick. Like, you've got to look at that as well and say, you know, you need to, if you would have scored the one goal, the one that he threw on goal didn't even hit the target. Like, come on, man. It's like when Haaland misses a sitter. You know what I mean? If Haaland misses an open net, I can't really then just blame the referee on his own. I've got to look at Haaland as well. So, well, you missed an open net from 2 yards as well. Like, come on, man.
That's fair.
I love that. I just think that's absolutely brilliant. Basically, what you're saying is, of course, Liverpool missed all these chances. There's no way they deserve the penalty. When did that ever come out of our mouths? It's just unbelievable, isn't it? That's crazy.
I think when 2 top teams are going at it, it's like 2 boxers fighting. One little error can dictate the whole fight. The difference between the teams are small, so this small call is massive, is what Tony believes.
Yeah, it's a massive decision, but so is Diaz missing a 1v1.
So is Diaz missing chances. Facts, absolutely.
I want to ask you this question, LB. There's a lot of Liverpool fans that have taken online and have accused Michael Oliver of bias towards Man City due to your owners paying him to referee games in the UAE that he does on the side of his Premier League job. What sort of, do you think there's any grounds for any truth in this, that Michael Oliver shouldn't be refereeing Man City games because your owners pay him a separate salary to referee games in the UAE?
Okay, so some referees take up this job, which has been cleared. Yeah, they're allowed to do it. They've been given permission to do it. They referee in the UAE and they get paid, right? It's not directly linked to our football club. If we're going to start saying that these referees are being biased towards Manchester City, by the way, my club's had decisions go against us as well this season. I know people like to think that that's not true, but it is 100% true. Then we might as well cancel the league, man, because we can't. I just don't think we can go around saying that. You know what I mean? You can't. I don't think we can accuse these referees of giving favourable decisions to Manchester City. I mean, did we not see what happened against Spurs? Did we not see what happened against Wolves? 2 huge decisions that have gone against us this season. Yeah, when Huang should have been sent off 100%, he didn't get sent off. We ended up losing the game. He scored the winner, and then obviously when Jack Grealish went through on goal against Spurs, and Simon Hooper, I think it was that day, pulled the ball back for a free kick. So I just don't think we can go down that. Now, by the way, should it be allowed? I don't think it should be allowed personally, because I think they get paid enough money. Yeah, I think they get paid enough money. You're refereeing Premier League football. I don't think you should be refereeing. This is my take. I don't think you should be refereeing outside of the domestic league that you're employed by and any UEFA associated competition, and of course the World Cup and Euros. That's just my take. But whether that it influences the game against Manchester City, I just don't believe that at all for 1 minute. I mean, by the way, give the penalty for Nunes. Yeah, he could have.
Yeah, but he could not give that.
No, but he might not have given it, and then just waited for VAR to say,
you need to ask you a question based on what the viewers are saying. All right, so I just want to point out this isn't my question; it's the viewers. The referees that have given decisions against City, are they being paid by your owners to referee games in the UAE?
I have no idea. I think quite a lot of them take up the UAE. Why would not? I think they get paid like 20 grand a game or something. They'd be daft not to. But like I say, I don't think they should be allowed.
But I agree with you. I don't necessarily think there is genuine. I think there could be unconscious bias. This is why they shouldn't be allowed to do it. As much as it can be cleared, and the money could be coming from a different entity to the Manchester City group, and I think it's all above board in terms of how it's structured. If you're getting paid £20,000 a game, they only get paid about 70, 80 grand a year salary. They're not on loads of money, referees. If you're getting paid £20,000 a game, and you know that the people that are hiring you own a particular football club, let's just say Ineos now, take away from City. Ineos start running a competition in, doesn't matter where, in America, and Ineos are employing referees from England to go over there, 20, 30 grand an appearance. When you're refereeing games against Man United, who partly own Ineos, there is a substantial chance that there is, at the very least, an unconscious bias that you have, because you want to keep that job where you do referee 3 or 4 games a year, and it makes you wealthier than a full season in the Premier League. And as I say, I don't think there's anything wrong directly with what City are doing here, but I agree with you, LB. It just shouldn't be allowed, because it can create an unconscious bias, which is hard to prove because it's like trying to chase a ghost. But purely if you're getting paid £20,000, as you put it, per game, that's going to influence how you see things in life, whether you mean to or not.
I remember as well, Terry, there was the VAR check. VAR could have changed it. Yeah, I mean, they obviously looked at it. And I go back again, there's a lot of people, even Jamie Carragher, Liverpool fan, Liverpool legend, says he didn't think it was a 100% penalty. So on that specific incident, no, I don't think we can say anything about that. But should it be allowed in general? 100% not. And by the way, while you might be right on the salary, the referees also get paid match bonuses. So every game that they referee, they get a bonus on top of that. They come out with a lot. These referees, Terry, are in a lot of cash. And I understand why they're taking this job, but I just don't think it should be allowed, man, personally, because it opens up this type of conversation, and that's not right. Do you know what I mean? Like it causes an issue, and who knows? We'll never know whether it causes an unconscious bias. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. No one will know, but that's why it should be banned, because who knows if it does.
Yeah, man. Listen, huge conflict of interest, in my opinion. Should not be allowed. Crazy that it is allowed. And I agree with what LB said at the end there. Michael Oliver did it with us when Kovacic should have been sent off at the Emirates against Jorginho, and it didn't happen. And everyone then brought up this scenario again. It's because it's Michael Oliver. That's what it is. He gets paid by Man City. That will always be brought up now every time Michael Oliver makes a mistake when Man City are involved, whether it be giving going against Liverpool and Arsenal in a title race against Man City, whether it be going against the opposition of a Man City game he's refereeing, whether it be when he's on VAR for a Man City game or a game that affects Manchester City in the weekend. Mate, every time that happens, it's Michael Oliver, isn't it? He gets paid by Man City. That's the reason Man City won the league, because of Michael Oliver. It'll all happen now. Just don't let it, and the conversations don't happen. It's crazy. It's a massive conflict of interest, man. I can't believe it's been allowed, but it is. So we've got to have to get on with it, man.
No, I agree. I agree. It shouldn't be 110%. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. And you're right, LB. There's no way of proving whether there's an unconscious bias. Even if you look at it and go, Oliver refereed 5 games for City. They didn't concede a penalty. They won every game. There was 3 controversies that should have gone to the other team that didn't. You still can't prove that he's being biased with that. So yeah, you should just remove the option. You know, you manage in one league and in the Champions League, and that's about. I mean, there's a reason why the English referees can't referee an English team in Europe because there is a feeling that there could be some unconscious bias because they know them. And we all do this. We all have these biases in life, right? At the end of the day, if you read a story today about a YouTuber who's had a fight and beat someone up and you don't know him and it looks nasty, you'd go, oh, that's a nasty piece of work. If it's the same situation, but it's someone you know and you know them to be a nice person, you typically look at it differently because you're like, well, I know him. He's not normally like that. Or what happened to him that day? You think about it differently. And that's why the English referees can't referee English teams in Europe. So surely we have to have that energy right across the board as well. Because I'm telling you now, if I was being paid £20,000 on appearance by TalkSport to do shows for them once a week, once a month, and I'm getting £20,000 on appearance, am I going to be a little bit less? Am I going to be less likely? Am I going to continue to clip up their videos and rip into them as much? I might right now because I'm not being offered £20,000 an appearance. Go, yeah, of course I would. But when my family's enjoying that money and life's more comfortable, you might sit there and think, actually, you know, I don't know if that's. I don't know if I will do it. You know, and I'm honest about that. Some will say you're being a sellout, but I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. And maybe I don't know I'm doing it, but it's unconscious bias. That's why I always say to these guys before we do shows, yes, you're coming on the terrace and everything else that comes with that, but call me out, challenge me. Like, I want that. Like, and I say it openly because I notice some people come on sometimes and don't challenge. And I think it's because they think, oh, if I do that, will I be allowed back on again? Is there going to be a problem? And I think some people don't maybe think it, but they feel it. So, yeah, challenge me all you want. You'll never be kicked off. Well, that's within reason. Within reason. Challenge the football opinion. Viewers, do us a favor and smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribing to the Terrace. 3,500 people watching, which is absolutely amazing for an early show on a Tuesday. In terms of your performance, though, LB, you sort of said the other day you had to win this game. You didn't. It was really poor in parts. KDB being dragged off and fighting with your manager. What do you feel went wrong on the day, in your opinion?
We crumbled. Well, when you go to Anfield, yeah, and we all know this because we've all been there, and it's happened to all of us. You've got to go there, and you've got to try and quiet the crowd, yeah, and that's what I wanted us to do, and I think we did that for the first 20 minutes. I thought first 20 minutes we looked all right, you know what I mean? We kept the ball well, we were looking good. Then we got a little bit, you know, we scored a goal. Then they sort of come at us. We were rattled a bit. We needed half time. And that was a great opportunity to refresh. It was a great opportunity to say, right, we've got a little break. Everyone just take 5. Let's have a little calm down. When you go back out there, yeah, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no nonsense. I want you to play the most boring football you've ever played in your life for 45 minutes to the 55th minute mark. And then maybe once you've got into the game a bit, you can start playing some football again. You know, to try and just kill, you know, try and kill the game. You know what I mean? That's what you need to do. And what did we do within 90 seconds? Ake, ever dependable, rarely makes mistakes, goes and drops a huge clanger, gives a penalty away. And at that point, we were just rattled. I said it on the watch along that I did. I said, listen, we just need full time now at the 46th, 47th minute mark. We needed to get to the end because I knew, listen, you're always going to have a chance or two. Yeah, you know, you're always going to pick them off on the break and have a shot on. You know, it wasn't 45 minutes where we literally couldn't get out the edge of our penalty area. Like, we did have little moments, and you know, on another day, maybe we could have even nicked it. Like Doku at the post. I know that the Foden one that hit the bar did sort of hit his arm, so that probably would have been ruled out. We had a couple of other chances as well. Like, we could have nicked it, but like, it was clear that Liverpool were all over us, and it was strange, man. Because like you say, before the game, I did say that I think we needed to win that game. I think that come the end of the season, that could be costly, because at the end of the day, even though that Liverpool team was still a good team, they had at least 5 players out. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, like,
it was a depleted team. Like,
it was a depleted team. It was still a good team, but it was a depleted team, and we pretty much had our strongest 11 out by Grealish. So we should, you know, like, on paper, I know football's not played on paper, but we should have won. So, but by the end of the game, I was like, bloody hell, take the point 100%, because we didn't really deserve the point. So yeah, it was a weird feeling after the game, man, because I couldn't make my mind up. Like, am I annoyed or am I happy? I mean, annoyed that we didn't get the 3 points. Yeah, to a degree I am. But I'm also happy that we got a point, because we didn't deserve a point in the end. So, yeah, very strange. I do feel that's going to be tough now, because I feel like we have to win our next 2 games. We have to beat Arsenal. We have to beat Villa 2 tough games. In my opinion, we need to win them both. If we don't, I think it's going to be very difficult for us to win the league. So, yeah, it's put pressure on us. Obviously, we're still there, we're only a point behind, but Liverpool have control. Arsenal have control. We don't. We have to hope these teams drop points.
A lot of us were called out last night on the Top 6 show for saying that City don't look themselves. The amount of counter-attack opportunities that you concede, lack of control in midfield, and we're talking about this at the elite end of the spectrum. Do you think that's an unfair criticism of Man City, that it's just going to click back into gear and you're going to be okay because most years you're okay? Or do you think it's a fair criticism that there are a few things that are a little bit off this season with City?
No, there are definitely a few things that are off. The manager team selection is off, in my opinion. I don't know why Alvarez is continuing to get in this team in the position that he's not used to. He was so bad against Liverpool out on that left-hand side. 56% passing accuracy. It's the worst I've ever seen, ever. So, yeah, that wasn't great. The decision not to play Kovacic, again, strange. You know, you're going to Anfield, a hostile place. You need players that are calm, experienced. You know, there's not many players in world football that are more experienced than Kovacic. You know, 100 caps for his country. He's played for Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Chelsea, City. Like, play him. That's a strange one. And just a general, we're not really playing that good. I mean, you know, how many times really in previous years do you see City win games 4, 5, 6-0? Yeah, we've only scored 6 this year twice. Once against Bournemouth, once against Luton. That's quite low for us. Like, usually we score a lot more. Here's the thing. I've still got to have confidence that when we play our full strength squad, and you know, we're not playing Liverpool at Anfield, because that is a difficult place to play, that we will click into gear. And we have seen it, yeah, in a couple of moments, like against Copenhagen. We were great against Copenhagen. Yeah, against Luton. I know it's just Luton, but like we were great against them. Like, we have seen it here and there, but it's just not consistent. And that's what we need. So listen, there's no better time to start than when you play Arsenal. Yeah, obviously that's our next game. We need to play well, but I've got to believe that we'll click into gear. You know, whether we will or not, that's down to the manager. That's down to the players. But I would also say that, like, even though we've been pretty poor, we're only a point behind these two. Now, you've got Arsenal absolutely flying. Like, I know, obviously, Brentford was slightly different, but other than that, they've been smashing everyone out the park. Like, I don't know, from an Arsenal point of view, do they not look at City going, bloody hell, these guys are not playing very well at the moment, and they're still only a point behind us? Like, maybe they do, maybe they don't, maybe they don't care. But I don't know, man. Like, I can't be, like, negative because we're a point behind. But we do have to improve. It's simple as that. If we play like that at home against Arsenal, yeah, they'll wipe the floor with us. So we have to improve 100%.
Interesting, man. I think it's really honest what you've said there, LB, and I am looking at Man City in that way. They haven't been amazing. They really haven't, but they're right with us. So what happens if they do start to become amazing? I'll say a couple of things about what I've noticed from Man City that I think I've been kind of shocked by. The season before last, you got rid of Sterling, you got rid of Zinchenko, and you got rid of Jesus, and everyone went, I think they can be got at now. You can't lose them three. They won't be the same. And you replaced them and you were fine. I said the same this year when you lost Gundogan and Mahrez and everyone was losing their heads. I said, they'll be fine. They'll go replace. Pep will do it. He knows what he's doing. They'll go and then you got Kovacic in. And I thought, you know what? That's a hell of a signing, that. That's a really good signing. Nunez, yeah, not for me. But I thought maybe if anyone could get something out of him, maybe Pep. And Doku, I didn't know much about, if I'm honest. I just heard good things that he was pacing electric. I think you've missed Mahrez and Gundogan massively. And I think if you had them both in the side now, you'd be a few points clear at the top. I honestly believe that. And I know you can't prove that, and it's only hearsay what you're saying. I honestly believe that Gundogan and Mahrez, you were better with them in. And if you had both of them and kept both of them, I think you would be a few points clear at the top now. The other thing I'll say, Pep Guardiola has actually disappointed me. Now, I'm talking about the GOAT here. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He might not be a Premier League GOAT. I'm sure that is Sir Alex Ferguson, and I agree that it is. But he is the best for me around. There's ever been. I think if you look at managerially, where he's been at Barcelona, Man City, and obviously at Bayern Munich as well. But I don't understand what he's doing with his team selection sometimes. And I don't understand what he's doing with his subs, man. This Alvarez
thing. He did do this last year, though, bro. He did do this last year. Like, do you not remember the time, like in February last year, when he was picking weird formations, and we was
And
all
you drew
going,
the
"What?"
forest, drew the forest away. I remember.
Yeah. He played Bernardo Silva left back. Do you not? Do you remember? And we was all
Yeah,
like, "What the
yeah,
hell is going on?" And then
yeah.
at some point, I can't remember the exact game. I think it might have been the game after, maybe Bournemouth. He just went boom, picked an 11, and then we just seen that 11 pretty much. Maybe a change here or there. We've seen that then to the rest of the season. This isn't something that is new. Like, he's done this before. The question is will he get that starting 11 correct before it's too late? And it might, who knows, it might already be too late. Liverpool, you guys might win the next 10 games, and then we can't win the league. But I would say that this isn't new. Like, he has done this in the past. He done it last year. But on the Mahrez and Gundogan thing, I 100% agree. I mean, the way we handled the Gundogan contract was criminal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to lose Mahrez for pittance, yeah, 25 million quid was a joke, man. I was sat there saying this is
One of
not
the
a
best
good
right
thing.
wingers. One of the best right wingers around.
Mm.
And you
That
know
was
what's mad as well? Like I look at it, and I honestly believe that you're right in what you're saying. But when it comes to it, I just think Manchester City this season we're like, oh my god, well, I can't believe this, I can't believe that. I still think they're going to win the league. Like, I'd love to sit here and say I think Arsenal are going to win the league, but why have I got? What evidence have I got to go with Arsenal ahead of Man City? There's none. We've got a manager that hasn't been able to get us across the line. You've got a manager that has. You've got a squad that's able to get across the line. At the moment, our squad can't. I hope I'm wrong. Of course I do. I absolutely cannot wait to be sitting there in May. And if it is me going, wow, we've just won the Champions League or the Premier League, I'll be one of the happiest fans around. But this Man City side is not one you can look at and go, God, yeah, they're not winning it. They're finished. Look at them. They're not very good. And I think with Pep Guardiola, what I was surprised about was this Alvarez thing. I was amazed he took KDB off. Didn't think he was very good, if I'm honest. You don't take him off even when he's not
Still
good.
got an
'Cause
assist.
he makes that. Yeah, exactly. He makes things happen, man. He literally makes things happen. So
Yeah.
I think defensively, Man City have been poor this year. I've got to say it. I think Kyle Walker's coming to the end. I think he's going towards a decline of his years as a
Oh,
footballer.
mate, he's getting absolutely cooked by our fan
He
base.
is.
He's just doing
He-
interview after interview after interview. I don't know what he's thinking. It's just like, just focus on the game, man. Like, I'm not sure what he's doing. Listen, we need a spark. Said this last night. We need a spark, yeah, because we've not had anything really to sort of like get us going. Like, beating Liverpool would have been a spark. Beating Arsenal will be a spark. Yeah, we just need something to kick us in gear and say, right, let's go. Because that's
Well,
typically how momentum starts, isn't it? You
Well,
get a big result and then you
yeah.
just kick on.
Well, last year you had the charges because from when you got those charges in the beginning of February, that was when you guys really kicked into gear. If you actually look at the results before that and after it, it helped you. And look, it's interesting that you bring up. I mean, Carl Walker, yeah. Look, it's funny, really, and I'm not trying to rip into the guy. I've always had an issue with him in the sense of there's always been like a bozo moment in there, but where he's lucky to a degree is that he has blistering acceleration and pace, and he can kind of recover. As an example, but yeah, he's been looking awful, and it should have been Gundogan you kept and him that you let go. Really, when you look again, hindsight's lucrative, really, isn't it? That would have been the better way to go. But you said something a minute ago, Dan, that Arsenal are not favourites, and I agree with you on that. Why is the narrative though in the last 24 hours changed? Why are TalkSport? Why are Sky? Why are Rivals? Man like Fuad as well. By the way, big up the boys at Stoppage Time. I love that show. They're all now saying it's Arsenal's title to lose. But simultaneously, nobody wants to say that Arsenal were the best team in the league, or or that they're going to beat City at the Etihad. Is it Arsenal's title to lose from this point, LB?
No, I think it's Liverpool's. I have Liverpool's favourite. I mean, you could argue and say, well, it is Arsenal's to lose because they're top of the table. They've got the better goal difference. But I just think for me, Liverpool are favourites in this position. I just think like they don't have to play City or Arsenal again. Yeah. I look at their fixtures. People try to tell me they've got the hardest fixtures. That's BS, man. I'm looking at their fixtures. I see very few challenges for Liverpool. And they've got this whole pleb, sorry, not pleb, sort of combine the names, Klopp things going on. And they've got players coming back from injury. So for me, I see Liverpool as title favourites. From here on out. But Arsenal have a great chance. The worst thing for Arsenal to do would be going to the Etihad and thinking that a draw is a good result. Because one, yeah, Liverpool will probably win their game, which means they create a gap with Arsenal. So that's an L. And two, Like, look at the confidence that Arsenal fans, the club, the players got from beating City early in the season. Yeah, twice. Beating Liverpool. The confidence is mad. Like, for me, I think Arsenal, yeah. I think Arsenal, and I say the same about City before the Arsenal fans try and cook me. I think City and Arsenal both need to win the game at the Emirates, at the Etihad. I don't think a draw is good for either, and obviously a loss. I think that could be good night. I think that game there eliminates a team from the title race. Now, of course, when you look at the table, people are going, "What you're on about? They're only 2 points behind or whatever." Yeah. I just struggle then to see where Liverpool and the other team, whether it be City or Arsenal, really drop points. I think that game on the 31st of March, Cherry, is going to eliminate someone. I
agree. I agree.
If
If you get beat by Arsenal, you won't win. You won't win the league, in my opinion. Doesn't mean you can't.
I agree.
But I believe that you could end up at a point where they've got a 4-point gap over you. Liverpool by then could have a 4-point gap, 5-point gap, and then you've got to get that swing over both sides. Arsenal's following game after that, I believe, is Arsenal's game after that is Luton. So you look at it and go, it is so likely that they go on to win that game. But then when you look at Manchester City, you've got a run of games that because you're going to have to win, are going to be so interesting with your counter-attacking issues at the moment in terms of conceding them, because you then play Villa at home, Palace away, you play Luton at home, Luton you'll be okay, and then you've got Spurs away. And I look at those 4 or 5, and I honestly can see with this current City, unless your form improves, I see you dropping some more points. And by then you could find yourself 5, 6, 7 points behind 2 teams. It just isn't going to. I just don't. As good as you are, you're not going to swing over both. So I agree with you. I think you're right.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I think we need to win against Arsenal, because I think if we beat Arsenal, yeah, these players will get the chest out, yeah, and they'll be like, right, Villa next, yeah, let's do Villa, yeah, and then after, I think the momentum could carry us through. And by the way, after that Spurs game, Terry, our fixtures are favourable. I'll say that as the word, favourable. So yes, we do have some tricky games in before that. But if we beat Arsenal, I reckon that could take us through. But yeah, like I say, for me, I just think this game is now. I think Liverpool game was one of the biggest games of the season. I think this Arsenal game on the 31st, man, it's just crazy. Whoever loses for me is out the race. Yeah, I don't mean out. Like, of course, if Liverpool then end up dropping points, they can still do it. I just think that it's unlikely. It's really unlikely that the loser on the 31st of March is going to be able to win the league.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that, and I think Dan. When I'm hearing people now say Arsenal, it's their title to give away, but like laughing at the idea that they can win at the Etihad, why do you think this narrative has been created by the media and rivals?
Massive contradiction in two of those things, isn't there? You know what I mean? They're not going to beat Man City at the Etihad, but well, they don't win the league. They've bottled it again. You can't bottle it when we're. I don't think you can bottle a title this time.
It can only be yours to lose. Well, I think it can only be yours to lose if people genuinely believe you're the best team and you're the favourites, right? You can't not be considered the favourites and it be yours to lose, unless I'm missing something.
This is what happens with the neutral fan base. They are obsessed with our fan base. They hate our fan base. They hate us. They think we're all absolute bunch of deluded. Well, we don't deserve it. We'll be horrible. Everyone will be going into hiding if Arsenal win the league. It's going to be a horrendous day for everyone. Like, grow the hell up, man. Really? Like, are you that triggered by Arsenal fans? If you are, go and find a hobby like to get you through it, because it really is pathetic. Like, some of our fan base are a joke. They're deluded. There's a section of the fan base that wind everyone up and trigger people.
Are you going to name any? You going to name any?
Yeah.
I'm not going to name them because I get on really well with them. I'm not going to name them because I get on really well with them. I just disagree with a lot of them, and they know who they are. They don't need naming. When it comes to it, I don't actually really like some of the things they say either. I don't let it trigger me and destroy my weekend like some of these fans do. It's mad. So that's what it is. What's happened is Arsenal were going to struggle to get top 4 this season. That was the narrative to start with. They got Champions League. They've forgotten what that's like. They won't have a chance. Title race. Oh, forget it. Now we've got to March, and in the title race, they can't do that anymore. So now they're like, right, well, what we'll do then is we'll tell them all they've got to go and win it. Go on then, go and win it. You're the ones who favour it now. You've got to go and win it. Well, you just told us we didn't have a squad good enough for the top 4. How are we going to win the league then in your eyes? So make it make sense, man.
I think if you beat City, though, Potsy, yeah, there's 9 games to go. You're level on points with that Liverpool providing Brighton. with a better goal difference, I do think then for me, you become favourites instead of
I agree
Liverpool.
with
The only
that.
reason I have
I agree with
Liverpool favourites ahead of you and City is because we play each other and one of us is dropping and it could be a draw. If you beat us, I have it then you as favourites because you've got the better goal
We've got
difference.
tough games as well. We have. I do fancy
Yeah,
cinema.
we've all got tough games.
All got tough games, but I do. We got to go Old Trafford. We got to go White Hart Lane, which is a North London derby.
Old
We still got to
Trafford.
go. Well, we
That
still got to
Ard
go. Yeah,
Stadium
but
we go to
though,
this
Tell
year.
you know. Well, listen, we said that last year, and we lost 3-1 to you. Do you know what
But
I mean?
I want to say, if I mean, I'm on loan at City, Arsenal now, right? You've seen my post.
I saw it, and I love it. I love it. And I hope that you're supporting us at Old Trafford, mate. I hope you are. I hope you're.
And I want you guys to win it. And people think I'm being shameless. But no.
Do you want us to win it at Old Trafford? Would you take that?
Anything to stop it's to stop the 4P more so than Liverpool. It's the 4P.
Wow. We've already won it at Old Trafford once. It won't matter if we do it again.
Doing the 4P will hurt me forever because it's a record that I don't think my club will ever achieve in my lifetime. It also means City could then do a 5P, which is a record that I don't think anyone will ever see again. And I'm all about winning the most amount of trophies and having the best records surrounding the trophies. So I don't want Liverpool getting as many league titles as us. And I definitely don't want City winning 4 on the bounce. So it's the best of a bad situation. But come on, you Gooners. North London forever. You know what I mean? Big up Patrick. I don't need to say Patrick Clive, Patrick Vieira. And what's the name of your academy?
Oh, what? What do you mean? As in our youth academy? What, Hale End?
Yeah, Hale End. Big up Hale End. And I'm even up for joining the Ashburton Army. You know those 17-year-olds that wear black. Like I'm up for all of it.
Yeah,
Next few months.
T-shirt, man.
Anything I can do to help keep the motivations up at Arsenal for them to win the league, because it's better for Man United if Arsenal win the league. It's you're coming out as a gooner. No, I'm not a gooner. You're not even seeing. I'm not dissing Arsenal, but you're not seeing. There is a bit of an underhanded, like backhanded compliment in there. I don't see them as bigger rivals as the other two. Like, what can you not fathom about
makes
that?
Sense to me. It makes sense.
It's crazy.
It totally makes sense.
Can I ask you guys a question? I don't know. When are you going to do the Porto section, Terry? Because it kind of links into that I wanted to ask.
You can go into it now, bro. Go into it now.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm interested to know what you guys think, and the chat as well, especially the Arsenal fans. Is like, if you're thinking just solely about the Premier League, Potsy, yeah, do you think that being in the Champions League benefits you because you're playing every 3 days and you can keep the momentum, even though you might have some tough matches against, like you might get Real Madrid, you might get like City, who knows? Like you might get a tough game and it means like you'll have less recovery time. But the pros are the momentum and all that kind of shit as Terry falls off his chair. Or do you think that being knocked out of the Champions League, I know you don't want to be knocked out, but like, do you think just for the Premier League, do you think being knocked out of the Champions League, so then you have no FA Cup, and it's just one game a season, focus, you got maximum recovery time, but if you do have maybe a dodgy result, you've got a whole week to sit on that, and that can be very negative. Like, what's your opinion on that? Because for me, just quickly to say my opinion, I think actually being in the Champions League is better because you have the momentum, game after game, every 3 days match. And I know, yes, you have the issue with the less recovery time. You know, you might be playing in fucking, I don't know, Italy, Germany, or whatever on a Wednesday, and then you've got maybe a Saturday night kickoff or something like that. Could be tricky, but like, I just think personally, from the experience that I've seen City have, we perform better when you're in the Champions League. But like, some people disagree. Like, what's your views?
Totally agree. And the reason I can say this is because I've experienced it without, and we didn't win it. So in the early days of Mikel Arteta, when we didn't actually qualify for Europe, we become that 8th, 8th, and 5th. The first year we won the FA Cup, so went into Europe. The second year we didn't, so we were actually out of it, right? And I said that's probably what we need, because at the time we were transitioning, we were trying to get these new players in. That's a season that we'd signed Tommy Asu, Ramsdale, Ben White, Odegaard, all these guys, and I thought, yeah, that's cool. 1 game a week, let's do it. It was horrible, mate. I hated it. When you don't win a game of football and then there's an international break, you've got to wait 3 weeks before your next win.
It's horrible.
And it's horrible, mate. You're like, we haven't won for 3 weeks. What's going on? And Tottenham fans will find that this year when they were like, oh, that's all right, 1 game a week. They're going through the same thing at the moment. They're like, Christ, we haven't played for 16 days. What the hell's going on? This is horrible. So I'm not saying that we're going to go through that playing without playing 6, because it's the back end of the season, so it's different. But when we went out to support in Lisbon, I was like, do you know what? I'm pissed because it's a trophy. But we go and win that league now because we've got like 7 or 8 cup finals left. We didn't do it. Now, I think it would probably be a kick in the nuts for us to go out if we do tonight against Porto. I think that could damage us against City. That could absolutely ruin us. And by the end of March, we could be out of everything. So for me, to stay in everything right to the end and use the squad that we now have coming back to actually see if it is good enough to go all the way. Because I still feel he's a little bit short in certain areas. But with the players fit that we've got coming back, there's no excuses to not go for against Porto, and there's no excuses not to give Manchester City a game. So that's where I'm at. I want to stay in both. And I think if you are going to go all the way and prove that you are the best, you can't be doing it by flopping out of all these cups like we've done most years. You've got to go and beat the best, man. I think that's what we need to be doing, man, and keep this momentum. Because if we're playing Porto on Tuesday, we've actually got 19 days until we play Man City. You know that. So we've got an FA Cup we're out of an international break. So we don't play again after tonight for 19 days until we play you, which is crazy.
So yeah, exactly. And imagine getting knocked out and having to think about that. Because like, you know when like last year, like you dropped points against like Liverpool when you were 2-0 up. And then that West Ham and shit. Like you then got to wait all that time.
Yep.
And all the players are thinking about there every day they're going to training is like, instead of just thinking, oh, tomorrow we've got a match, we've got, oh, we dropped points, we really messed that up. And it's just on your mind. I just think it comes across as proper negative. But listen, I spoke to a couple of Arsenal fans and some of them are like, they don't want to get knocked out of Porto, but they're like, if we get knocked out, then we can just focus on the Prem. And I feel like that's the
other thing is, LB, if you ask me now, what one do you want to win? I'm picking the Champions League.
Yeah, because you never won it.
I'll always go for the Premier League, but this has to be a Champions League for Arsenal because it shuts fans like yourself and Matisse and all these people that come in for me going, well, we're bigger clubs than you because we've got European heritage and you haven't. That just shuts all that down. Arsenal are, in my opinion, Arsenal are a bigger club than Chelsea and Man City anyway, right? But we definitely are with a Champions League. We can then go, right, we got the one with the big ears. Now you can shut up. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I would always go Champions League this year. Normally I go Premier League. But why can't we go all the way in both? That's what I want to be asking. Raise the standards, man.
But you can go all the way in both, and it's really interesting. I don't want to see Arsenal win both. I genuinely don't. And again, unless it means stopping.
Yeah, it's a domestic loan only. It's been
domestic loan only. Unless you get City in the final, then I'd pick because you'd have one, they'd have one, rather than having two, right? It's always about the same trophies for me. But you know what? I liken it to this. When I used to work in sales, I was pretty good at that job. But I always found it easier to sell things when I was doing well. Because as I got older, you realize you come across less desperate. You don't stretch for things. You don't try too hard. There's a relaxed nature about you. And I think that same mentality applies itself to sport. If you're in both competitions, there isn't we have to win today because if we don't, our season's over. There is an element of we want to win today. We're going to give 100%. We've got the Champions League. We've got this. We've got that. We've got the other. It enables you to. And also when you've got a Champions League game for a few days, you can just forget about the Premier League and the pressures that come with it. And it's why I've had this argument with Chelsea, Arsenal fans for 2 decades. It's why I put winning a Premier League and Champions League in the same season. In fact, it's why I put your double winning seasons of an FA Cup and a Premier League above your invincible season. I think they're bigger achievements because winning 2 trophies in a season is a bigger achievement than winning one. Even if that one trophy comes with an amazing record attached to it, 2 trophies is still bigger than one. So I think you should be in it. It can take pressure off the other competitions. And 2, you've got to strive for absolute greatness. And you look at it this way, if you're a gooner, I know there are Liverpool fans that are desperate for you not to win it because they don't want Arteta and Klopp to both have 1 Premier League each. Yes, Klopp has more domestic trophies. He has a Champions League to his name. But say Arsenal went on and won a Premier League and Champions League in the same season. It still doesn't mean he has more trophies than Klopp. But when you look at legacy, that is something he would have achieved that Klopp hasn't. In fact, Arteta this season could achieve something that only Pep Guardiola and Fergie have done, winning the domestic league and the European Cup in the same season in England. And actually, one other manager I think it was Paisley did it in the 70s, maybe the 80s, sorry, with Liverpool when they needed the treble. Man United won the FA Cup and stopped them from winning the treble. So you're talking in the history of English football. Arteta could have something which only 3 or 4 other managers have done. That is something Arsenal fans should be striving for and frustrated with if they didn't get. Now, frustrated doesn't mean throw baby out with the bathwater, sack the manager, we're crap, I hate this football club. It can just be, I'm really gutted we've lost this, but now let's focus elsewhere. Equally, I don't want to hear this weird excuse of it's okay to be knocked out of the Champions League because now we can put I'm going to do it. Sorry, big man Robbie, but bigger fish to fry, as a expression would say. I don't want to hear any of that nonsense because There aren't bigger fish to fry. It's the Champions League. It's huge, and you've got to focus on it. But speaking of that, I'm going to LB first on this. Is tonight pray for Porto? I see it trending. Is it pray for Porto tonight?
I don't think it's pray for Porto, to be honest with you. Like, this team is a team that, you know, under this manager, you know, knows how to set up. I actually think that, like, it's all about how quickly Arsenal can get that first goal. Right? And I know everyone always says that, so like it's a bit of like, you know, you don't really
Cliche.
Yeah, it's a bit cliche now, but I just think it's true. Like, if Arsenal get an early goal, yeah, first 20 minutes, I see a 3-0. Yeah, something like that, 4-0 maybe, a push. But if they can get to half time, Porto, 0-0 or even winning the game, then that second half is going to be so tricky. For me personally, Liga is desperate for Porto to win. Me personally, I think Arsenal get the job done. I see maybe 2-3-0 scoreline, but they have to get an early goal, man. They have to. I've seen Arteta's put out a rallying call for the Arsenal fans to make some noise at the stadium. So yeah, make sure you get your singing voices on, Potsy, because, you know, he's asking you, your manager's calling you out. He's saying, we need you tonight. And I think he knows the game. He knows the game because he needs that early goal. You get the early goal, man, that game will be finished. It really, really will.
Yeah. Are you at the game tonight?
Unfortunately, mate, I'm not. And I'm gutted.
TV, mate.
I don't want to talk about it. I've got a commitment that I can't get out of. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it, man.
No, I do. What commitment? Depends.
I don't want to go.
It's for the wife, is it? If it's for the wife,
no.
Kick her out.
Mate, it's a work commitment that I really can't get out of, and I really want to, but yeah, it's not good. Yeah, they know I'm not happy about it, but you know, it's one of those things. Got to pay the bills. No, true. But I do. It's one of those that I haven't. Do you know what? It's a good omen because last time I didn't go, we spanked Newcastle 4-1 when I wasn't well. So hoping that we do.
I'll send you some WhatsApp message updates, Dan.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
And if it goes wrong,
actually,
for you,
you know what? It's good actually because the place I am at, the event that I'm at, is got the football in the background, so I can watch it. So that's the good thing. At least I can actually see it on TV. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm missing the game. The first one I've missed in a long time. So yeah, frustrating. But there we go. Listen,
do you know that game I missed once? Sorry,
not the Champions League final in
no.
'99. Oh, okay.
It was a good game. It was an awful game to miss though.
Go on.
7-1 Roma.
I was on holiday watching that in Tenerife, and that was
mine weren't even a work commitment. It was a girl that I really liked at the time, and she bought me tickets to go and watch Lamar in concert, 50-50 and all that. And I couldn't get out of it, and her dad was a bit scary, so I had to go. He kept on saying to me, "You ain't going to pull out to watch football, are you?" I was like, no, I'll go. My phone kept on going off, giving me updates halfway through. And honestly, I was just like, I can't. I like Lamar, by the way, one of my favorite singers, but I was sitting there the whole time and then get up, just watching my phone for score updates. It's the worst. But anyway, we digress.
It worked out well for you, though, now, Tel. You know what I mean?
It was great.
Anyway, listen, it's a game that we have to go up. I think early goal is massive. I agree with LB. We know what they're going to be like. Do you know what? The game is actually going to be very similar to the Brentford one of the weekend, which actually worries me more because it was quite, touch and go at times. 10 minutes to go, we got there in the end, and I do look at it and think that it will be very much like that. I think Pepe is going to bring a load of shithousery with his team. We know what Pepe is going to do at 41 years old. We've known him long enough now. This is going to be a tricky one, but I do think we'll have enough. I think the crowd, LB, are absolutely spot on. And do you know what? They were the biggest positive of the weekend. And I'll tell you why. When Aaron Ramsdale made that mistake, some fan base have been right. That's it. We're done. We're finished. We bottled it. This bloke's no good. Get him out. This is a Southampton result. We ain't going to win the league doing this. We actually just sat there and we thought, I still kind of believe that we're going to get something here. There was nobody around me saying, this is it. We're done. We're bottling it again. This is like Southampton. And that's a really good thing. And I think that the crowd felt that. It was like the 12th man. And I do think Mikel Arteta, I think he made a comment in his post-match about it, saying that the crowd were phenomenal and believed in us to the last minute. And there is a belief now, there's a telepathy, there's an understanding between fan base and players and management and coaching staff. It does feel like there's a togetherness at the Emirates, and we have made it a bit of a fortress. It's a horrible place for teams to go. We beat Liverpool and Man City there this season. That's not something we normally do. Do you know what I mean? So there definitely is something we've seen change there. And Mikel Arteta deserves a hell of a lot of credit for that. Massive amount of credit for that. And we've got to bring that tonight, man. This is a massive game. This is a massive game. People are, brushing aside Porto. Porto are a well-respected Champions League side. We should be beating them, but you don't walk in and go, right, this one should be 5 or 6 tonight. Nice and easy. Let's concentrate on getting ready for City. This is like, forget City for now. This is massively important tonight. If we go out tonight, we'll be massively disappointed as a fan base, and rightly so. So, yeah, I will be very, very disappointed, but I do think we will get the job done.
It is big. It is really big. And I'm intrigued to see what players step up tonight because, again, just maybe it's the job that I do now. I've seen a lot of people, well, let's see what Kai Havertz and Saka and Martinelli and Odegaard do in big Champions League knockout games. And this is one of them because you're a goal down. You're the favourites, even though you're a goal down. So there is a big expectation upon them to deliver. So as a neutral watching this, I'm really intrigued to see how they step up to such an occasion. Can they score early? Can they? I mean, I agree with LB. If there's an early goal, it may be pray for Porto. I think that would be the phase it goes in. But every little 10-minute, 15-minute block, if there's no goal and the pressure starts to mount up, then I wouldn't be surprised to see a counter-attack goal. Does that that's when I think you may become more susceptible. But tonight will be such a huge learning curve for so many of these players and your manager. Because this is one of those interesting things. He's learned the Premier League. He's learning it. But he's never been in this scenario. So these players and your managers together have never been in the second leg of a knockout stage of the Champions League. They've never been in it when losing. So there's so much to learn from this point. I'm just intrigued as a football fan to sit down and see how it pans out. You're up against a good team with some seasoned pros, with a decent manager. Who, you know, I've seen a lot of, I saw a Real Madrid fan, a video, I didn't say trending, I saw Hamza put it out, talking about football heritage and how Porto's football heritage will see him through. And I agree with that to a large degree. You know, their fans will be relaxed and having a good time the whole game, no matter what's going on. I think it's a really, really big night tonight for Arsenal. I think they'll win. I think you'll do it. I've seen a few gooners with the whole pray for Porto. I don't think it's going to be like a 4 or a 5-0. I think that's crazy. I'm going with 2-1. No, I'm a lie. 2-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate. I think it's going to be a win, clean sheet, but low scoring compared to your recent standards. I think you'll get it done, though. I think you'll get it done.
No, interesting. I mean, a lot of people are saying that we will get it done. There's also a lot of people saying that, like you've just mentioned there, Tel, in terms of experience, that's why we won't win the Champions League and we've got more chance of winning the Premier League. Listen, the Champions League is always the easier one to win, in my opinion, because you don't have to be the best team in the league to win it. And it's a knockout stage. So anyone can go out, anyone can stay in it. Yeah, that's the way it is. It's a knockout competition. Lose a game in the Premier, you don't lose the league. Lose a game in the Champions League, you're out, mate. It's done. So it's always easier in that way. So you don't have to be that level of consistent in the league for 38 games, right? But I will say this. I think some of our players have been magnificent, man, and aren't getting enough credit. I honestly do. I don't know what more Gabriel
Who's not getting enough credit?
I don't know what more Gabriel has to do. I
No,
don't know
no,
what
it's not right, this.
Did you see that Arsenal hate come out of him there, spewing out his pores?
It's not right, this, right? Because he'll sit here and say they're not getting enough credit. So who's not getting enough credit?
I don't think they get... I don't think Ben White this season has been talked about.
Ben White started the season. I remember Arsenal fans cooking this guy for months, man, saying he's fell off.
Have you seen him lately?
I've seen him lately. He's playing well.
So he deserves credit then, doesn't he? And he's not getting it. That's
but
my point.
We're not going to sit here. No one's going to sit here, bro, like, on Twitter or on YouTube saying, "Oh, like who's not an Arsenal fan?" And say, "Oh, Ben White's been amazing when he started the season."
I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for you to start getting excited about him. I'm just saying I do not hear, and it's from Arsenal fans as well, by the way. I don't think he gets enough credit. I think Ben White has been phenomenal since the turn of the new year, and I think this inverted role has been fantastic. I think that people are scared to change their opinion on Kai Havertz because they think, "Oh, don't say he's good because we want him to be rubbish. We want him to be this £65 million flop." Like, actually, he's been all right. He's been good since 2024. He has scored some really good goals. And you know what? Before that, he's actually scored some important goals as well because he's won a games against Brentford home and away. He's put us in with a great killing off chance against Brighton to go 3-1 up. And we beat Luton 4-3 in the last kick of the game from Declan Rice, but he scored one of the goals before that. So Kai Havertz has actually had an all right season. He's not going to be a flop now. People want him to be. He's not going to be. I don't love the player. I don't think he's unbelievable. But when you look at it, like, let's be real. There's some Arsenal players that I think are overlooked, not just by Arsenal fans, by neutrals as well. Like, nobody wants to talk about Gabriel at all. It's all like Van Dijk and Kenyatte and
Did he though?
Saliba even Saliba gets more of a mention than Gabriel. Gabriel's been better than Saliba because he's not the headline. I think it was the other day was talking on a podcast about it, saying that Joel Matip never got looked at in the same light because he had Van Dijk next to him. He was the headline. Gabriel has been absolutely immense this year, mate. Absolutely immense.
No, and I agree. I think he's been better than Saliba this year as well. But like, you're acting as if like you don't get praise. I've seen loads of people praise Gabriel.
Arsenal fans, you have.
Yeah, other people praise Gabriel. I've seen other people praise Gabriel. But the thing is, we're not all just going to sit here down and be like, "Oh, isn't that guy mint? Isn't that guy mint?" Like, you put it out there, we'll say it. But yeah, people have praised Gabriel. People have praised.
You know as well as me, LB. There's a lot of people heads down. Oh, don't say they're good. Don't say they're good. I'm not saying you're doing it. I'm saying there's people out there.
I think you look way much into this, bro. Pretty much everyone agrees that Declan Rice is the signing of the season. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone acknowledges that while Saka is probably not playing as well as he maybe did last year, his goals and output is still ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everyone's accepted that Raya, who a lot of people at the start of the season said, why has he done that? That's a dodgy signing. He should have just kept Ramsdale. Most people are now sitting here saying, good move. So I feel that you're just like overplaying this.
You're talking, though, with your sense and your head on. You're not talking for everyone opposite, mate. Some of the people just ignoring the fact.
Some people,
so I'm getting at them. So you're coming out defending.
You're not going to get 100% of people, Dan, saying, "Oh, how great is Gabriel?"
Not expecting 100% of people to say Gabriel's been phenomenal this year and Ben White's been amazing. I'm just saying, from what I've seen generally, I don't think that they're getting enough credit because I think they've been phenomenal in the last few weeks, particularly Ben White, who I think is one of the best. I thought he was the best player of the weekend. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal in the last couple of games, couple of assists as well, and a goal. To be fair. I think Kai Havertz, deserves the plaudits that he's getting by some Arsenal fans, not all. And I do believe that is because some people don't want to go that early yet. That's fine. But at least give him credit, yeah? And change your opinion and say, like I have, I thought this guy was going to be an absolute flop between the months of August and November. Yeah, I thought, oh my God, what have we signed here? This is ridiculous. Waste of money, 65 million. I've now changed that opinion to think, you know what? Christ, he's looking all right now, you know. Further up the pitch, he's scoring goals. He's contributing important goals. Ben White, start of the season, what's happened to him? Now, oh, wow, he's looking bloody good again. Gabriel, though, and Saliba and Declan Rice have been phenomenal all season. And if it gets to a stage where we win something this year, it will not be Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard or Jesus that pick up that award. It will be Declan Rice, Gabriel or Saliba. Because that has what, in my opinion, that is what would have won us it. Because they've been phenomenally good throughout the whole of that season. When we were beating teams right there early, we're not playing very well, but 2-1, 1-0, that was because of those players. So for me, I think they're the ones that we look at this year. That's what I'm saying, man. I think there are some that have gone, yeah, Arsenal look good. But I don't think there's the amount of some of them I've seen that are just like, oh, just calm down. They've never got over the line. Just calm down.
Potsy, genuine question. Why do you care? As an Arsenal fan, why do you care what other people think about your players? Surely the most important thing for you is that the players keep performing, that you win trophies. Why do you need people to say, oh, how great is Ben White doing at the moment? Like, why do you need that?
I don't need it. I just think it's unfair that we don't look at players in the same light as some of the others that we do. Because when players are doing well, it's like, oh, okay, let's look at somebody like Szoboszlai at Liverpool. Absolutely going. Everyone's going, what exceptional talent. Except he's been all right. He's been all right. We're going mental about him. I don't know why, by the way. If he's a good player, we're going mental about him. But I don't think he's been any better than Kai Havertz this year.
No, but the opinion on Szoboszlai's changed. At the start of the season, everyone was like, oh my God, what a great player. Even Liverpool fans are now starting to say, oh,
I think he's a great player. Right. I'm just saying that
but recently,
no one's talking about Kai Havertz as being a great player now. That's what I'm saying. So there's difference in that. That's
but with Havertz, bro, I think the Havertz thing is coming way too soon. Yes, he's had some big goals, and yes,
about what it will be at the end of the season. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, but bro, it's 4 games, it's 5 games. Like you're not going to get rival fans sitting there going, "Oh, he's doing such a great." No. But you're missing the point. You expect people after a little bit of form to sit here and talk about Kai Havertz and say, "Oh, he's doing an amazing job." People want more than just a few games in a row. And granted, these last 4 or 5 games have done really well. If he carries
on, that's what I'm asking. So stop there. That's what I'm asking, because there's not enough people that are saying that.
People are not going to say that just off the cuff.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. That's my point. My point is, why are people not doing that? That is my point.
Because it's 4 games, bro.
Oh, bro, you're not getting what I'm saying. You're not getting what I'm saying.
No,
You're not
you
getting
want
what I'm
people
saying.
to sit here after a
No, I
couple of good
don't want
games
people
for
to do
Kai
that.
Havertz and say,
I
"Oh,
don't
he's
want
doing
people.
such a
You're not
good
getting what I'm
job."
doing. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're not understanding. You're doing what everyone else is doing. That's why you're not getting it. You're doing what everyone else is doing. You're
What am I
going,
doing?
oh, give it till the end of the season. Correct. That is what we should do. We should sit down at the end of the season and go, right, was Kai Havertz a good signing? Was he not? We don't know that yet, right? But what I'm talking about right now, in the 2024 of Arsenal, Kai Havertz, I think, deserves to be given credit. And there's so many people going, oh, we don't want to give him credit. We know he's a flop. He's a 3-year terrible at Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. Cool. That's fine. That's a different question. Is Kai Havertz doing well at Arsenal right now? Yes, he is. Why is it a crime to say that? I don't think it should be, but it is to some. I don't want
Because
to
he's
sit
doing
there.
all right. He's doing all right.
Yeah, he is. Exactly.
He's
Well, don't stay in
still
it.
probably
You're
not
one of the only
he's
people who
still,
has.
yeah, but bro, he's still not probably performing at the level that 65 million pounds probably
Probably
expected.
not. Probably not.
So,
But that's
so,
a
so
different
for,
question.
well, it's not because people judge
No, it is.
people off of fees. No, they don't, bro.
Is
Because when
Kai
we
Havertz
signed
doing
Jack
well at the
Grealish,
moment? Is Kai Havertz doing well at the
wait a
moment?
sec. Because when we signed Jack Grealish, everyone goes, "Oh, he's doing all right, but he's not worth £100 million." So you're going to get the same with Havertz until he's performing at a
Yeah,
level
but they're
where
two
people
different
go,
questions, LB. They're two different
"Well, that's
questions.
how people view football nowadays. People
And
view it
that's what
on
I'm
the
saying is
fee."
wrong. That's what I'm saying is wrong. That's what I'm
Well,
saying. What you've just
you
done is
want to
answer the
change the
question. You
fundamental
just
how
answered the
people
question.
think about transfers now, bro.
But you've just answered your own question there by using that Jack Grealish example. That is what I'm saying. He just won a treble, and people still aren't giving him credit because he was £100 million. That is
Who
it.
cares? Who
No,
cares, Dan?
but
He
that's a
won a
different question as
treble.
well. Who cares? I'm just saying that I do think that there is a lot of players, particularly in this Arsenal side at the moment, that are being overlooked. And I think they've been well. And I'm not sitting there saying if no one else gives them all players, none of them getting the team of the season of the year. It's a disgrace, football, absolute disgrace. I'm not going that far. I'm just saying from what I've seen, and you're not actually one of them, which is why I don't know why you're defending what these other people are doing because you're not
Because I
actually
don't
doing
get why you care.
because I brought it up as a topic. So I'm explaining my opinions of it. I think I'm not bothered
So
massively by it. I'm just saying.
You don't come across as someone who
I
doesn't.
care.
Not
I
massively
tell you what I
bothered.
care. Do you know why I care about it? I think the narrative around players is a really important part of their legacy. So we had a debate on the terrace maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we're debating the GOAT of the Premier League. And a lot of the boys on the panel were saying Henry. And a lot of the things they spoke about were not football related directly. So it was like and this is true, all the kids in the playground putting black gloves on to play football was an Henry thing. Everybody, and including your mum that didn't watch football, knew who says va-va-voom, right? It was a Thierry Henry thing. A lot of people viewed it as the way he made them feel and how he made them look at football. The way footballers are spoken about and discussed is a really important part of their legacy. I think it's a really important part of how a club is perceived. And I think it is important. And the reason why I call Jack Grealish, Luke Chadwick as a little bit of a joke is I think that he's been a good signing, but I think for £100 million,
that is proper harsh.
But again, it's slightly over the top because it's a joke, it's satire. But I believe if you would have bought any decent 30-40 million pound winger, City would have still have achieved everything they have done with or without Jack Grealish. I don't personally think he has moved the needle any one bit. Now, players like Gundogan, KDB, Rodri, and many others have been an integral part of that team. And without one or two of them, I don't think City would be as successful as they have been. But I say that because I don't want to see... I say it because I don't want to see Jack Grealish pushed into that category with those individuals because I don't think he's there with them. The same as I don't think Jasper Blomqvist deserves to be discussed in the Man United treble-winning team in the same way as David Beckham and Ryan Giggs, because I just don't think he was as integral. I think he played an important part in games, but I just don't think he was as integral as the others. So I do think conversations around, and you bring up Kai Havertz, and it's so interesting because most people have already been proven wrong about Kai Havertz. And you know that if you go back and watch a lot of videos beginning of the season, a lot of the narrative was Kai Havertz is going to ruin how Arsenal play football, not just be a bad player, he will take them backwards. And the first few months of the season when the football was slow, told you, Winter Surfer, I know you watch a lot of our shows, love you, bro, but he said it only a few weeks ago. Kai Havertz is the reason that Arsenal play bad football. My view the whole time was I think this is a tactic and they'll pick up second half of the season. And they've done that. Now they're playing fluid, electric, liquid gold football, and Kai Havertz is starting all the games. Therefore, anyone whose prediction was Kai Havertz will ruin this team, you're just wrong. So you can't now move the goalpost and say, yeah, but I'm not saying you're doing this, LB. You can't just go, yeah, but he ain't a £65 million player when you're moving the goalposts. The narrative was that he would ruin the team. And that's where I think the conversations are important to have personally, not just because it makes good content, and I think it does make good content, good debate. I think it's an important element of a player's legacy to have as honest and I say this about Man United fans all the time, like, control the narrative a bit better. Control the narrative about your club a little bit better at times, because it sticks. It genuinely, it's like Jamie Carragher last night line. Jamie Carragher lied last night. There is no way that this City and Liverpool rivalry has been the best rivalry in Premier League history. And if that goes unchallenged, it will just become carte blanche. It will just become because the big names are saying it. It will just become accepted. And I'm not going to let that go without debating it and pushing it. There's no way that this era has been the best rivalry. Amazing football, two brilliant teams. But they love each other. That's not a rivalry. It's a bromance. There's no way this rivalry is as good as 98 until 2004 with Wenger and Fergie in terms of quality of football, trophies won, the needle, Pizzagate, the fights, Patrick Vieira shitting it in the tunnel. Like, none of it's as good as that. So I care about the narrative because I don't want erosion of my club's history and players. And that's what this is all about for me, personally.
What you get as well
LB's brilliant question.
Yeah, but what you get is you make a statement and somebody will come back with a different question. So you might say to me, Kobe Mainu, he looks like a really good talent. Yeah, but he's not Gaza, mate. Well, hang on a minute, that's a different question. I didn't say he was. Like, I just said he was doing well at the moment. That's what we get. Like, Ben White has been really good. Yeah, but he's not Trent, is he? He's not going to get in the England side still. All right, well, that's another debate. We can talk about that again. Another time.
But that's life, isn't it? Someone can say, "What do you think?"
I'm like, hang on a minute. I only said he played well.
Someone did it to me a few weeks ago. They were like, "Who do you prefer, Rihanna or Beyonce?" And I said, "My favorite is Beyonce." And the response was, "Why are you saying?" Maybe I haven't heard this word in years. Is why are you saying Rihanna's butters? I'm like,
butters. I remember butters.
I love that word. But I didn't say that. I just the preference. That's the way the world's gone. Like, people are very. Kevin Hart spoke about. I'll find you a clip and send it to you. Kevin Hart spoke about it on Joe Rogan's podcast years ago now, about just people sometimes just like to be negative, even in a situation that doesn't really need it. And I'll send you the clip, and it's so. Listening to Kevin Hart say it, he got it so spot on, and people do it all the time now. Like, I think, like, Messi and Ronaldo debate. No matter who I think's on top, I think it's marginal. But the way most Messi versus Ronaldo debates happen, is both parties try and make the other one sound rubbish. And I'm like, I'm out, I'm gone. I can't do this shit. I can't do it, man.
100%.
And people lie and they move the goalpost. And it's like what they're doing to Arsenal at the minute. The whole, you're not the favourites, you're not better than City, but it's your title to throw away. You know, last year, Man United won't even come inside the top half the league. We come third, win a trophy. Oh, we overachieved. How can you overachieve? Well, you said we were going to come 11th, you dickhead. That's overachieving. And I like the narrative to remain the same personally. But we have some super chats here I want to jump into. This City fan is waffling. I don't know about what. Sorry, LB.
I'll try not to waffle next time.
Sorry, bruv. I'm sorry. I don't mean to damage anybody's psyche or health by reading these out. The weirdest thing about City is that their problems are easy to solve, but Pep won't change it. I will say it again. City will finish third. Arsenal to win.
We spoke about this before. Yeah, Pep does need to make changes with ourselves 100%. We have to trust that he's going to make them, but if he doesn't, then we could finish third. And listen, finishing third to these two sides is no embarrassment. There's no shame. I mean,
it is. It's horrendous.
I wouldn't say it's horrendous.
Biggest amount of money spent, but huge £487 million wage bill. Come on.
Yeah, we'll gloss over that. No. Listen, I think whoever, genuinely, I know this is another cliche, but whoever wins it this year genuinely does deserve it, man. Because this title race is crazy, man. Like, what we are now, match day 29, 30, or something like that. There's a point separating, like, me from, like, Liverpool and Arsenal, and these guys are fighting out for goal difference at the moment. Like, it's crazy, man.
No, I agree. It's been amazing. Big up Terry and Potts. LB is a fraud like Doku. Oh,
I'll tell you what, if I was earning packet like Doku, man, you know what I mean?
You're right, mate.
What's he on? 100 grand a week?
Well, that's a disgrace, isn't it? Terry, my Leighton Stone G, how do I get on TFT as a fan? Been watching for a while now and would love to debate these deluded Spurs dons. Bruv, as you're from Leighton Stone, we can message me on Twitter because you're from Leighton Stone. 100% get you on, bruv. I got in trouble at work once for that because I had 3 people to choose between for a job. And one of the guys was from Leighton Stone. And that was the reason I gave for giving him the job because he's from the same town as me. Yeah, sweet. I'm a bit biased like that. There is very little to separate Liverpool and Arsenal. It is hard to see them dropping points. Maybe a draw here or there, but I see Arsenal winning it on the final day. Oh,
it's mad though how Kula, just going to quickly say it, it's mad how Kula says, like, almost makes it out as like Arsenal and Liverpool are far away from City. Like, we were a point behind, bro. And if we beat Arsenal, then we'll be above Arsenal with 9 games to play.
Ward here says Arsenal will win the Premier League against all odds. Big up, lads. Come on, you gooners. George here says Terry wanting Arsenal to win and prevent City doing a 4P just in 4 years' time to realise he was supporting the beginning of another 4P. May we. It could happen. It could happen. Please chime in with the debate I'm having. My cousin thinks Foden is overrated and he's just a stats man, and that most football fans think this. As football fans, what are your thoughts? Love the channel.
I think, if anything, it's the other way around. I think he needs more stats and I think he needs more Gina. I think the way he plays, he doesn't get enough goals and assists. So actually say it's the other way around, personally.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that. I think he is. I think he's class, man. All this talk about Foden overrated and all that, just world class debates and all that. Just let the kid enjoy his football, man. Same with Saka. Just let it crack on. Why do we have to put an actual brand next to him? What are they? The world class? Oh well, it's like they're doing so well, so we have to try to make them not so well. If that makes sense. Why do we do this with English players? We've done it with a lot of them. We did it with Rooney all of his time. We did it with Beckham. We did it with Gerrard. It's all like, yeah, but he's not. Yeah, but he's not. Like, just let him play, man.
We're too tribalistic, bro. You know, in this country, because of the way that the football is in this country, we're true tribal. I mean, you hear it, don't you, when like Lampard and Gerrard and these guys speak about what it was like when they went to England, and like, you know, it's not like that now. But as a fan base, we ain't changed. England's setup has changed. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to the players, like Saka will be sitting next to Grealish in training, but like as fans, we're still exactly the same. If probably, in fact, I'd say we're worse because of social media than it was like 20 years ago. So I don't think that's ever going to change, man.
Well, it's interesting because it's 2 for 2. It's going to be 3 for 3 now, saying that I think Phil Foden is world class. I know I got called out by Big Steve on the Big Six last night. If you think Foden's not a world class player, you're better off suited to watching the football terrace. Big up Big Steve, by the way, and the boys at the Big Six. It did make me laugh. But no, look, Foden isn't overrated. He's a genuinely world class player. But what you're seeing, Larry, is people have bad games. And there's this weird notion that top players don't have bad games. I saw a compilation that went out today of John Terry, who is one of the greatest defenders in Premier League history and one of the best of the last 30 years in European football. And it was a compilation of the times where he didn't do too well. We slipped or he fell or he made a mistake. And there's this Liverpool fan who quote tweeted it and said, you can't watch the first even 6 seconds of this and make an argument that John Terry would make it in 2024. And I understand the game has changed and maybe certain players wouldn't be as good now as they were then. But at the same time, this Liverpool fan has just undone his own club's entire history. Because football has got faster, where P&P is far more important. So what did he make of the players in the 70s and 80s that were winning all of Liverpool, the majority of Liverpool's trophies that make them the club they are today? Do you write that away from your history because they may not be able to make it against the speed and power of players in 2024? And that's my issue sometimes with the tribalism, is we act like good players of the past never made mistakes. And then when we see a player from the past making a mistake, we say they couldn't make it now. And players from today in 20 to 30 years' time will say the same thing about how do we know this? Listen to your elders speak about football, and the same things were going on. My dad came to a show once of us years ago at when I was about to say DR Sport. It was UFF back then, and they were talking about the best midfielder that they've ever seen, and everybody was naming players from the 90s and the noughties. And my dad just said, I think he said Michel Platini. My dad remembered when he was a player and he was class, and everyone in the room was like, really? Really? Of course we weren't going to say him because none of us were bloody born. It was only Claude, God rest his soul, that was in the studio that's similar age to my dad, a little bit younger than my dad, but remembered him. And everyone else that was like 20 at the time, I don't know, 30 and younger, had no idea how good a player he was. But it doesn't mean he couldn't make it today. Football was just different. Tonight and the City game are very crucial for Arsenal. Lose both and the season is over, but win both and they are favourites for the Premier League and third favourites for the Champions League, is what Zayn Shah says here. It's a big shout. This is to Mark from Mark. He says, Dan Potts is a legend. Come on, you gooners.
Big up, Mark. Legend, man.
Where's the love for LB today, people?
Yeah, I
Where's
was
the
just
love
about
for
to
LB
say,
today?
how come I'm getting cooked, yeah? And then, yeah, people call me a fraud. And then this guy is getting super chat saying he's a legend.
They know, man. They know. They know.
Hey,
Big
chat,
up, Mark.
it's not on, man. It's not on, chat. Where's my £2 super chat? LB is a legend. Come on, man. I want to see it.
Kai has been better than Jack Grealish this season. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely been better.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
But most left wingers have been better than Grealish. He's hardly played, and when he has, he's not been great.
Happened to City for a decade. We never had the best players in the public eye. Some of our greats and transfers are all overlooked. It's what it is. We win. I hear you on that, bro. Also, I've always, again, City. I know I get a lot of shit from City fans out there, but I've always defended City players in the legendary debates. I don't, and this is not a dig. I don't think you have a big enough fan base sometimes to compete with the online discourse, because compared to like the Liverpool and Arsenal fan bases, you've got much fewer people. And I think if Sergio Aguero had been as good as he was for City and won what he won for City, but an Arsenal or a Man United, I think there'd be a different conversation about the GOAT of the Premier League in that regard. It's not all about goals brought up on footy in the 90s. Terry, you should know better. Saka isn't half the player Giggs was, no matter the output. Guys, but I haven't said it's all about goals. So, with all due respect to your claim, I didn't say, where have I ever said it's all about goals? Goals are important. Clutch goals are important, but I've never said it's all about goals. I never said that once. I think Arsenal, it's a bit like what you said earlier. You say one thing and the response comes back completely different. I think as Arsenal fans are not used to being relevant again, so many forms of criticism are seen as Arsenal hate, and they need to be validated at every turn. Look, the Arsenal hate stuff, look, I call it out when I see it. You can't sit there as a professional TV pundit and say Arsenal won't beat City at the Emirates, at the Etihad. You can't say they're not favourites to win their league, but then say it's their league title to throw away. I call that Arsenal hate. That for me is irrelevant. That's not Arsenal fans looking for validation. That's a contradiction. Oh, look, here we go. Look, LB is a legend.
Yo! Come on, bruh. What's that? Crypt? Come on. Hey.
Crypt, yes, it was from Crypt.
What's
I also got LB is a legend, according to DW. L is a legend. There you go, bro.
Come on, Martin.
I just say, Terry, I didn't have to beg for mine. That's all I'm saying.
LB is a legend. Something fraud. I got you, bro. Harry.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Harry fraud.
Harry fraud. Who's Harry?
No, I don't know. That's not me.
Ain't me either. Hey LB, hate from Australia. Michael says LB is. I'm going to put wanker in there. I'm going to say it. LB is a wanker. Kidding. Come on, you gooners. I like it. I like it. Look, I want to say a little big thank you to each and every. Okay, right. I just read something in the private chat. I was like, oh, thought we were gonna. This might have a. I don't want to hear I'm going to cut you or anything backstage. Listen, do us a big favor, people, and smash the like button. We're live tonight after Arsenal take on Porto, so I want to see. Oh, hang on, 90 Stephen here says, "Big up LB. Even though you're a City fan, please don't also quit YouTube. Big up to Sava." Yeah, I saw Sava's video, and look, you know, he's got to do what is right for him. Always great doing shows with him. And yeah, I wish him all the very, very best in the future. Gents, always a pleasure to speak football with you. So everyone who's tuning in, make sure you're all back at full time tonight between Porto and Arsenal. It's going to be, mate. We've got another super chat just come in. It says, if City lost to Liverpool and then Arsenal, would you say they were out of the title race?
Yeah, 100%. But we didn't lose to Liverpool. But I think if we lose to Arsenal, we're not out, but like we're pretty much. It's going to be difficult.
Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.